Hi, my name is Lea. I'm an assistant professor at IE University in Madrid, and today I provide you with practical insight into our study Orchestrating Coordination Among Humanitarian Organizations, a project in collaboration with my co-authors Murat Tarakci from the Rotterdam School of Management, as well as Maria Bézieux and Nils van Kwaakwe-Beke, both from the Kuhne Logistics University. The motivation for this study was that the number and complexity of humanitarian disasters is ever rising, whereas the resources, the funding available for humanitarian actions is becoming increasingly scarce. The United Nations, therefore, in their final Sustainable Development Goal, called for better partnerships for global development. They furthermore, to improve resource sharing among humanitarian organizations, set up the cluster system. The cluster system is divided in different sections with different functions, one of them being the logistics cluster. A central one, because the logistics cluster acts as a service provider for all the other sections, such as food or water. In the logistics cluster, or humanitarian organizations are coming together on a regular basis to share information and material resources with each other. The cluster is furthermore chaired by a cluster lead that owns vast resources and expertise in the field of logistics, coordinates the meetings, and furthermore acts as a provider of last resort. That means in case there are striking resource gaps, the cluster lead provides these missing resources. So reality seems to align with what theory recommends. According to humanitarian operations literature, clusters as well as cluster leads are vital levers to improve coordination in the humanitarian sector. Yet what we see in practitioner reports as well as case studies is that coordination still poses a major challenge to successful operations. So in our study, we asked, why is that? And importantly, how can the cluster leads' roles improve the coordination between humanitarian organizations? To answer that question, we first conducted qualitative interviews with members from the logistics clusters and triangulated the insights shared by them with respective meeting minutes. Subsequently, we captured the findings in a computational experiment in an agent-based simulation where we explicitly measured the impact different leadership roles have on coordination. We find that the dual role impedes, whereas a pure facilitator improves coordination. The dual role of a cluster lead means that the cluster lead runs operations, whereas it also functions as a coordinator. However, by running operations itself, it was observed by cluster members to have an own interest in the cluster resources and prioritize its own agenda. A pure facilitator, in contrast, doesn't have any agenda. It is thereby able to neutrally allocate the resources among cluster members and coordinate cluster meetings, which overall improves cluster members' motivation to coordinate. Next to leadership roles, we find localization to be vital for improved coordination. Localization means that those organizations that are from the affected countries and their knowledge and information is integrated to the cluster response because they know very well what their country needs. How to enact, though, the pure facilitation role? First of all, it is about assigning cluster leads wherever possible that are unencumbered by operations. Double-heading staff, furthermore, should be trained to separate their own as well as clusters' agenda. Here it can be helpful to transparently document how resources in the clusters are allocated and distributed, and furthermore to clearly divide budgets in terms of cluster leads usage and cluster members usage. To enhance localization, it is most important to create an atmosphere where everybody feels safe to speak up. That can be realized by having regular check-ins with locals and to regularly meet with them. Having clear meeting structures, speaking slots, as well as translation where needed. And last but not least, ongoing coachings and trainings with local as well as international organizations where they can meet with each other and get acquainted with each other seems a reasonable strategy forward. So provided with these insights, my co-authors and I very much hope that they contribute to the final sustainable development goal of enhancing partnerships for global development, and thank you for your attention.